In reviewing Michelle's history, it was quite impressive. Her symptoms started very young.
Doctors diagnosed me with syncope, but they couldn't provide a reason for the actual fainting.
She had these episodes where she would pass out repeatedly, and the doctors would give her a diagnosis of syncope, but no explanation and also no solution for her.
So I was seeing a lot of gastroenterologists, a lot of doctors in general, but then there was always a point where they seemed to give up on me because they weren't seeing any results. They would write me off as an emotional teenage girl, or that I was making it up, that I needed attention for some reason. Even when I was cheery and happy, I was being told, you're depressed, you're anxious, and that I was crazy.
Around 7th grade, she began losing too much weight and she was hospitalized for about 3 weeks. They did force feedings and they treated her quite poorly.
Kept getting passed from one specialist to the next, and a lot of those other specialists kept coming back to that same conclusion, that it's all in your head.
At some point, someone decided that it was psychiatric and put that in her file, and then for the next 10 years that followed her. Every doctor she met treated her like a psychiatric patient, that she was faking it.
The head doctor and the psychologist came in and just screamed at me and yelled that I was faking it, that I was doing it for attention.
And they placed her on psychiatric medicines that made her much sicker. And that was probably one of the hardest times of her life.
I had to drop out of college because I couldn't physically do it. I couldn't be alone, I couldn't be independent, I couldn't bathe, I couldn't sit up to eat. There was nothing I could do for myself anymore, and that's when I was diagnosed with POTS.
POTS is a disorder of blood flow, not being able to get it to the heart, and so when they stand upright, the perfusion of the brain drops. The brain will sometimes respond with extra adrenaline. In her case, her body would respond to the adrenaline. It would just get so high that she would start to shake and have these pass-out episodes.
At this point, I had seen 70 different doctors, and while some of them did believe me, none of them could really help me or tell me what was really going on. So it was incredible to meet Dr. Colby.
My first impressions of meeting Michelle was, wow, she's sick.
He really believed me. Not only did he believe me, but he could take action. He had the knowledge to do something about it.
So what we provided for her was a plan that was more comprehensive, that accommodated her unique situation and needs.
Other doctors were telling me that I needed to exercise and that would help the POTS, but I couldn't sit up at all. So Dr. Colby met me where I was at and started from there.
Put her with a physical therapist named Chris Harper. And then we also implemented some medications she had not tried before.
He was more than just my doctor, he was my partner. And when we would try things and they wouldn't work, I felt like I could tell him about it and we could just come up with a new plan. He wasn't just chasing the symptoms, he was actually trying to discover more about what was happening and addressing those issues. I had to do my part, I had to do the exercising.
An important piece of taking care of a patient with this disorder is they gotta have buy-in. And I spent a lot of time with education about what the problem is and how we fix it.
So for the first time, I realized I was improving and getting better, which meant that I was experiencing all of these new firsts, like riding in the car while we were on the freeway for the first time, or washing my hair by myself for the first time. Coming down the stairs and seeing the main floor of my house for the first time in over a year was really emotional, and honestly don't even have the words to describe it.
It feels great to see someone progress that much. One of the sad realities of POTS is about 25% become completely disabled, and not all of those disabilities are actually necessary. And the combination of medicines plus the good support of a physical therapist, within about 3 weeks, she was out of a wheelchair, and within about 2 or 3 months, she was pain-free.
I just celebrated a year working as a secretary, and I work 9.5 hours a week, which doesn't sound like a big deal to a normal person, but to me it means independence, it means getting to be my own person, and that's huge.
The thing about Michelle's story is it's actually not that unusual. Up to 1 million to 3 million Americans may have POTS and dysautonomia. They feel awful all the time. It affects every organ of the body. That's why they have so many symptoms.
I think I would say to someone who was dealing with similar circumstances to let yourself be hopeful and to know that you're not alone.
Life for Michelle going forward is very optimistic, right? She still has the POTS, she still has the connective tissue disorders that contribute to that, and we hammer away at different issues year to year that improve her life. Our goal is to hopefully get it where she's feeling as normal as possible, that she can hold a full-time job and hopefully be a mom, which is one of her goals, which before was impossible.
It's completely changed the direction of my life. I'm getting to live my life.